OutRun is one of those arcade games that seems almost impossible to explain without talking about the feeling it creates. On the surface, it is a driving game released by Sega in 1986. You pick a Ferrari Testarossa, choose your favorite girl to sit beside you, and drive through a series of branching roads toward one of several destinations. But OutRun was never really about racing. There are no opponents to defeat, no championship to win, and no complicated simulation waiting to punish you for every mistake. Instead, OutRun is about freedom, speed, music, sunshine, and the fantasy of simply getting in a beautiful car and driving wherever the road takes you. To understand why OutRun became so important, we have to go back to the middle of the 1980s. Arcade games were becoming increasingly sophisticated, but many driving games were still built around the idea of competition. You raced against other cars, chased lap times, or tried to survive increasingly difficult tracks. Sega wanted something different. The company had already established itself as one of the major forces in arcade gaming, and its developers were looking for ways to make the arcade experience feel larger than life. At the center of this vision was Yu Suzuki, one of Sega's most influential designers. Suzuki had already demonstrated an interest in pushing arcade hardware beyond what people expected, and OutRun gave him the opportunity to combine technology with something much more abstract, a sense of lifestyle. The game was inspired by the exotic car culture and visual language of the 1980s, particularly the Ferrari Testarossa. The car was not simply a vehicle. It was a symbol of wealth, freedom, youth, and Mediterranean glamour. OutRun turned that symbol into an interactive fantasy. The decision to make the game about a Ferrari was significant because Sega did not treat the car like a technical object. This was not a simulation attempting to reproduce suspension geometry, tire temperatures, or realistic vehicle physics. The Ferrari in OutRun is a dream of a Ferrari. It accelerates instantly, drifts beautifully, and feels incredibly responsive. The entire game is built around the sensation that driving a supercar should be effortless and exhilarating. The cabinet also changed the psychology of the game. Sitting inside an OutRun machine did not feel like standing in front of a television. You were physically placed into the fantasy. The steering wheel was in your hands, the road stretched out in front of you, and the machine itself reacted to your movements. Even before the race began, the arcade cabinet was already telling you what kind of experience OutRun wanted to be. Technically, the game was equally ambitious. Sega's hardware allowed OutRun to create a remarkably convincing illusion of three-dimensional movement using sprite-based graphics and clever scaling techniques. The road appears to stretch toward the horizon, curves into the distance, and rush toward the player at high speed. Mountains, palm trees, buildings, tunnels, beaches, and roadside objects create the impression of a vast world, even though the underlying technology was fundamentally based on two-dimensional graphical techniques. The destinations themselves reinforce this idea. You are not trying to conquer the entire game world. You are taking a trip. One route might lead toward a beach, another toward mountains, another through a more urban landscape. The destination becomes less important than the journey itself. In a strange way, OutRun is closer to a road movie than a traditional racing game. That philosophy is also reflected in the music. OutRun's soundtrack, composed by Hiroshi Kawaguchi, became one of the defining features of the experience. Instead of aggressive racing music, the player could choose between memorable melodies that evoked the carefree atmosphere of a summer drive. Tracks such as Magical Sound Shower and Passing Breeze helped establish a musical identity that was almost as important as the graphics. Nearly everything about OutRun serves that fantasy. The car, the music, the branching routes, the scenery, the motion cabinet, the bright colors, and even the deliberately unrealistic physics all work toward the same goal. It is an arcade game about movement, but its real subject is freedom. And that is why OutRun still feels special today. Technology has advanced enormously since 1986. Modern racing games can create enormous open worlds with photorealistic cars, realistic weather, detailed physics, and hundreds of kilometers of roads. Yet none of that automatically creates the particular feeling OutRun captured, because OutRun was never trying to reproduce reality. It was trying to reproduce the dream of driving. And for a few glorious minutes, it succeeded.